with that said, I am joined by, of course, a co-caster today, and actually a new co-caster here. I'm excited to have him on from now known as Evo Corporation. I'm joined by the one and only Near. Good to be here. Near, how's it going, man?
It's going good. I'm excited for this game here. Of course, complexity being winning the last cycle, being the favorites, but let's see what's going to happen today.
Yeah. Good point to bring up. Complexity Gaming, they are the Cycle 1 champions, obviously, and quite the run that they had. Had to get through your team as well as several others. Very, very impressive result. But they definitely deserved it in the end. So, as far as the start here for these for cycle number 2, taking a quick look at the standings, you see Complexity currently 2-0-1 with 6 points. They're sitting in that third place spot. Rexar is Reborn 0-1-2 with only the 1 point so far. So, that's kind of how things are shaping up so far for these two teams, and of course everything else. As you see how it's playing out so far. But back to this one, though. Again, definitely looking forward to having some fun. But anyways, we already have the draft here. So let's start getting into that here and talking about what's going on. The initial bans, it was Clanks, Tremble, Oogie, and Swiftblade. We have Moira into Midas, Wild Soul into Moraxis, and Kraken into Andromeda. But that Wild Soul pickup has to be the interesting one here. What do you think about that, Near?
Yeah, definitely. I'm assuming it's going to be offlane. I haven't seen this team been running junglers at all, so that's my guess at least. Yeah. And I'm seeing a Midas picked into Moira, but I mean, Fuzzy Slut plays an amazing Midas, so I guess he doesn't care what the enemy teams or what heroes they have.
Yeah.
Interesting to see that they have banned Clanks, Tremble, Oogie, Swiftblade, like 4 carries in the four bans, initial bans. Especially the Clanks, it seems that no one wants to deal with it. And Tremble has huge map control as well. Mm-hmm. So it's just too hard and very good heroes getting those out of the way.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Very carry-heavy bans. Definitely is that. But the Moira first pick to respond to all that action. But, yeah, the Wild Soul is an interesting one. You mentioned probably going to see it in an offlane here, the Suicide. It seems like that's what we've been seeing. The several times we've seen it picked up, I know Make's played it for BMG. BMG, I think we've seen Sync pick it up once or twice. It was interesting because before, when the changes first happened and he was being introduced into tournament rules, there was the idea that he would be a jungler now instead of a laner. But I think it's just because perhaps the polling that he does is just a little too... Do you think that's what it comes to? The ability to pull the creep wave with that boo-boo is just too powerful to pass up?
Yeah, I think it's because of the ability to get farm versus potentially free heroes that makes it unique in the offlane. Warblies can do it too, but yeah. It's one of the few heroes who can do that. I'm guessing that's the reason.
All right.
Well. Then it has the swipe at level 3. I think it was at level, or when the hero is level 5, he has a swipe, which makes him good at ganking. I think it had that at level 3 before. Then it got nerfed to level 5. I'm not completely sure on that, but I think that makes it harder to use in the jungle. You can't be as active. Then you're more at the sit back and farming route, like a Void Beast. He needs level 6, then he can potentially gank.
Yeah.
But it's not the same.
All right, well, we'll see how they continue to follow up now as far as the bans obviously happening here. The second tier of bans, Silhouette and Parasite Doctor into Ophelia, and Salomon into Magmus. So continuing a trend of somewhat carry bans here. Yeah. But one that was left open in the end is sure enough Dark Lady, and I guess Rexar is going to pick it up here. So very, very carry attention heavy this game.
Yeah, I mean, I like what they're doing. If they don't run junglers, picking, an offlane hero that gets something and doesn't need support from his team, and then they can focus on the mid and bottom lane. It seems to be the way to go. And I don't think is there a harder carry left than Dark Lady in the pool? I'm not really sure about that. And Complexity likes to run the 2-man short, getting formless at farm. Mm-hmm. So they might come out ahead here in laning phase. But we'll see what happens. They do have the potential of manning up on the Hellborn side. They have 3 stun heroes here early on. They only have a Kraken charge in the Moira stun Legion side. Oh, the Ravenor. Yep.
Yeah, this is a carry hero that they definitely play every now and then. It is kind of a change of pace for them. It's Complexity, as we always like to stay, they are that very late game team. They love to get formless, a very hard carry for the eventual. But Ravenor's one that to change it up a little bit, be more aggressive earlier in the game. And they definitely have done that. So I guess when you're going up against a Dark Lady and even a Wild Soul, especially somewhat greedy, need farm heroes, Ravenor kind of makes sense there. So do you like the pickup?
Yeah, I like it. It's a very strong hero, and it has more potential around the mid game than the Dark Lady. She needs the Cleaver and preferably another item before she's good to go. Whereas Ravenor just needs the Abyssal Blink. But Formless normally don't go the Blink. He might not do it here because his team has so many stuns that he will be able to follow up without it.
Ooh.
They're actually right-clicking Fade here, so that might be a tri-lane, long lane with what you got playing the Fade if they do that.
Yeah.
And they actually do pick up the Tempest, so I'm surprised by that.
And there you go. They do follow up with the Fade. So, man, I'm looking at these two lineups, and for me, it's Rexos Reborn is a very greedy lineup, a lineup that's going to need a little bit of time. But if they happen to get to late game, I mean, I don't know if there's any chance of them losing, to be honest. But on the other side, Complexity, they got a lot of early games. So,
yep. If they can not die early too much on their core heroes, they will be able to do wonders in the mid and especially the late game.
Yeah.
But the enemy team does have the Fade factor, and they have a lot of stun and catch potential. So it will be hard. If the first 10-15 minutes might decide what's going to happen here. Of course, there's always the huge team fight ultimates from Legion side to turn it around. So it will be interesting. But I definitely expect a man up here from the Hellborn side.
Okay. So a full-on tri-lane, you're thinking?
Yeah, and then the two supports can roam around between the lanes, set up ganks. They have stuns in every lane. Midas just needs level 4 to be able to do a follow-up stun and then a lot of damage. Ravenor as well, with Andro Fate initiating and Miraxis. It's whoever's there. If they catch them, they will die.
What is your thought of Fade becoming so popularly? I feel like in Hunter Season 4, it's like all of a sudden this explosion of Fade action. It's not even like a lot of changes. I don't even think she really got any tweaks to her necessarily. It's just people started to pick her up all of a sudden. Do you understand why? Or
yes, the map control you get from the hero. It's very, very huge and it just can give you like the pickoffs you need, or you start initiation in a fight that could be so important to win the game. So that's why you have that hero, or you pick it up. But I also think it's like 3-4 months ago, Puppet Master was picked or banned all the time, and then there goes a certain amount of time, and then people don't pick it anymore because they know how to play against it. Okay, now he has the Shroud. We have to be careful for him going for solo pick-off right here and here. And then they know how to counter him in team fights to be on him. I think it's the same thing that Fate will go through, so I think it will taper off in the next month or two.
Okay.
I think it's like a phase hero coming out. Then people will learn how to play against it, and then it won't be picked as much.
I mean, things in general are going to be changing here coming up soon. We got that, obviously, big balance patch coming up just around the corner, and it is a little bit unfortunate timing as far as when it's happening for tournament play, but it's going to be happening pretty much when the groups after the group stage is finished, so this next week here. So obviously some quick transitions going to need to be made as far as the players go. I mean, I don't know how much you've actually looked into the upcoming patch and seen all these changes, but is that something that you're looking forward to, or are you a little uncertain? I mean, how do you feel about the upcoming patch?
I think I might be the only one who thinks the career change is a good change.
Oh boy, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I like that. It also makes it easier for supports to get items. I'm playing support myself, so
yeah,
not having to buy career or upgrade it and be focused on that. Instead, maybe getting the early boots and try and get a snowball effect, as you can sometimes do by setting up kills here and there. Mm-hmm. Could impact the game, of course.
I mean, that's just one of many changes, of course, but that's interesting to point that out, though. I mean, the career change, it was, I personally see it as a very heavy, just in general change for the health of the game, not necessarily just for competitive play, but you bring us a good point, especially as a support player yourself, that it's going to change the way you think or what you have to do in that early game phase, or where you have to prioritize your money. So, would you call it a buff to supports overall?
Yeah, it's a small buff, of course, that you don't have to spend those 200 gold in the early game to upgrade a chicken.
Yeah.
That's actually a lot of gold, since you don't get any early on, except if you're involved in kills. and you, unless if you're pulling, that could happen too, right? So
Hmm.
that's where you get your gold from. Being able to get the boots and then set up a kill somewhere is could be like it's a buff for supports, or yeah, it's nice for them.
Yeah. All right.
But
What about any other changes? I mean, again, have you really looked too much into it, or?
I haven't looked too much, but there's also the jungle change that creeps will spawn even though there are corpses in there,
Yeah.
right? Is that coming too?
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's gonna boost the overall GPM of both teams, like of the players.
Yeah.
Because I mean, usually you don't kill it inside, but it happens, and then you can't kill it again. So it's just it will of course buff some junglers as well. It won't really affect Ophelia or Parasite. It will be better for a hero maybe like Tempest or something. Be easier to move around
Hmm.
because you can just kill it inside. You don't have to pull it out and then summon and then hit them when they're walking back to the camp and into the camp and stuff like that.
It's going to make it a lot less tedious, that's for sure. It's going to,
Yep.
simplify it definitely, and take away a little bit of that annoyance factor. It's safe to say. So, speaking of the jungle, look at what Complexity's doing. They're roaming in. They go a pretty unique path. Unfortunately, there is a ward aside here that is going to spot them. So,
It's nicely placed by. I mean, they're expecting this on the Legion side. So and now they see all of them. So Wildstorm has the one-on-one top, and he knows that.
yeah,
I'm gonna be intrigued to see how he will do that actually, because now you don't have the entangle effect anymore to sort of zone the enemy hero and do damage to him.
yeah.
It's gonna be a bit interesting.
It does change it up a little bit as far as that mentality there goes. But you do see the boo-boos up there ready to pull, and right now Moraxis is going to be the one up here, it looks like, for Complexity. So, Near, you were correct. Looks like the tri-lane is happening of
Yep.
Complexity. Andromeda.
They do have Dark Lady down here. I mean, they see the man up, so I'm wondering why they don't put him mid and set the Kraken down here. But I guess they value the early farm and Kraken, getting that blink to make them have an impact in the mid game.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, Moira can't really help Dark Lady if she gets stunned here.
Yeah, that's. It seems like now.
Oh.
Looking,
The
nice
counter
kind of word
bottom.
right away. Yeah. Dark Lady is an interesting carry here on that. She needs obviously a lot of farming, but in a 3-versus-1 like this, she could actually still get some creep kills, right, with that Taint Soul. So, and even the hatchet if she can close enough, you see right there trying to. So it's not the worst thing in the world, I guess, is where I'm getting at for Rexhar's Reborn, that they're being manned up here. And I also got to think that Complexity, they're probably going to start adjusting here sooner than later themselves, as it's 3-versus-1. So.
Dark Lady is one of the carries that you can put in this situation, and she will still manage to get around the 200 GPM versus 3 heroes because of the Taint Soul and hatches, as you're saying. The only problem is she's losing lane control now. But I mean, if she stays at the tower and doesn't die here, that's the most important thing, because she's occupying 3 heroes to doing this.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, Moira's gonna be having an impact on Midas's farm in mid lane.
So you see this here for your Complexity. Again, having 3 heroes just stay down here seems like it's a little pointless. However, Fade's going to find Dark Lady, and not enough follow-up, though.
Charge.
Ravener didn't really want to go right there, as had the charging strike. So, but I'm guessing we should expect rotation from Complexity, and sure enough, it looks like they might start moving. What would you do if you're Complexity here?
I would try to get the kill down here, but as it didn't succeed here, I would try and start moving around. The Wild Soul top is a kill. But it really hurts when you don't get a kill on the solo guy bottom. If they do that, you'd all of a sudden have support or have boots and Fade or an Andrew. This is why sometimes when we do this tri-lane and we have a Fade or Magnus, we buy instant boots on him, so he will be able to roam around earlier. Then he just runs around with boots and a mana potion, and then the support buys, the wards in the region.
Yeah.
That actually works.
Yeah.
Because in this point, his 300 move speed can't really gank as effectively.
You see right here, this is turning out interesting. Andromeda aggroing the creep wave, or the neutrals even. So a little bit of funky creep pull going on here. But Dark Lady is going to be boxed out eventually.
Kind of like it here. Of course, he will probably not get the CS, but the enemy or the creeps from the Hellborn side will come to his tower eventually, even though he's buffing the farm. On Fade and Andro, he's sort of trading it, so that's okay.
Ooh.
Moira Invis here, but I just think he's trying to leech experience. He can't really open.
Not much he can do by himself. Yeah, I didn't even realize he was Invis initially. But he is going to see Andromeda running over right here and placing a ward aside. So, well, guess what? He has a rough ward. And sure enough, Gonna counter it immediately. Not the best. I'm not even sure, well, who that is actually. I don't know if you have any insight on that, but.
No, I don't know these players that well.
Okay.
So,
He's
maybe. As far as
maybe.
I know, he is not the best.
Yeah. I like Unir. That's fun. No, but yeah, this is one of these teams again. Even Rexstars has always had that history. They've kind of had some different names and some sub accounts, so it's a hard team to follow at times. But we'll just gonna have to go with it, I guess. Here, bottom lane, they want to really dive for this. They're gonna go for it. And goes the port, the Concession on top, but not the greatest staggering, but it is gonna be more than enough for the Bloodlust kill, sure enough. So they finally get the kill in the end onto Dark Lady.
Yeah, it's a case where you need to make sure you have mana for your charge so you can get out of that. If the stuns don't stack completely at some point. But 4 minutes before the first death, so it's not too bad, in all honesty.
Yeah.
I mean, looking at the experience, they do have a Tempest, and they're using 3 heroes versus this Dark Lady here. And she will recover if his team can get the farm and then start making space throughout the mid game.
That is true. We do got to remember Tempest in the game. Rocky Balboa playing it here in the Hellborn jungle, and it seems like he's overall doing pretty good here. 300 gold per minute right now, and he is level 5 currently, so has the Ring of Sorcery already. And do you think is there a timing you think for this Tempest that you look for to maybe push this top lane with Wild Soul?
Yeah, for sure. When Wild Soul and Tempest has level 6, they can dive this guy top with the double swipe from Wild Soul and the Elemental Void. I mean, even if Fade and Andro TP's in, I don't think they can do much. I think that will end in a disaster for Complexity.
Yeah.
Now Tempest hit 6, so we just need Wild Soul 6. They should be able to kill. Of course, Meraxes is level 6 and a very tanky hero, so it could be tough if he gets that ulti off, which he probably will.
Yeah, it's a difficult task to ask for sure. I mean, you see right here, Oscar, as the Elemental's coming, it's like, okay, well, something's up. He's going to fall back. Not too sure about that, to be honest. But maybe trying to aggro the creep wave behind. Here we go, though, pushing into the tower. Yeah. Tempest not showing himself just yet. Is going to spawn some more Elementals, though, and block the next creep wave from defending the tower right here. So Meraxes may be fine for now, but this tower is definitely in a lot of trouble. But again, he just doesn't have the greatest path to take. He's going to have to run right past them. Are we going to see Elemental Void? We sure are. Going to be pulled back in. He's in trouble. Here goes that double swipe that you're talking about. Jeez. That is so much damage. And down goes Meraxes. So, well, right on cue. It seems like works out pretty well for Rexstars here.
Yeah, very well played. And they're going to get a tower on top of it as well. They still have 3 heroes bottom Complexity. I think they may have pointed in if Meraxes could have gotten his ulti off and that he was behind the tower and they were diving in there. But that's the only case where I see a turn potential coming out. So the right decision from Complexity not to point in there. Meanwhile, bottom.
Yeah, okay, they are going to try to go for this Dark Lady. Aurora coming out. She already did Charging Strike, so she's definitely dead. And no TPs coming in. So, again, you figure Complexity, they had to make a priority somewhere, and in this it clearly was, we want to lock down the Dark Lady. I mean, they are accomplishing that. She's being locked down. Ravenor's getting pretty good farm, but because of this, it did leave open a Tempest to free farm their own jungle. Wild Soul had a great time at the top lane, was able to push it in early, as we saw. Do you think Complexity is approaching this the right way? Are you confident that this is going to work for them?
I mean, they don't really have a choice anymore. I think it's okay to stick bottom, but just secure the farm and Ravenor and hope he can pull through versus the Dark Lady with the advantage that he has. But it's still, I mean, that's the team fight ultimates from the Legion side with Elemental Void and the crack, release the crack, and it's hard to deal with if they only have farm on Ravenor.
Well,
of course, Fuzzy's doing an amazing job in mid lane here, and he has 320, so he will be able to do some work. But the initiation is Oscar, and if he is struggling, they won't be able to really force the issue before he has his blink.
Oh, well, roam around as supports, and they will find another kill right there onto Moira, actually, so nice little find for them, and happy with that. You mentioned Fuzzy Sloth is having a pretty good time in top lane, and by the way, look at this. They're diving behind the secondary tower. They're getting really greedy right here, and here come the TPs. They do start falling back pretty quickly, but the Transmute connects on a Tempest. He's definitely dead. He wants to chase down this Wild Soul. I don't know if they're going to be able to. Maybe if you can get a Transmute off. You do see Wild Soul, though, pretty fast, though, with that Wild ability. And I think that's going to give him the distance. Yeah, I don't think Midas is going to be able to. Well, he wants to go. They want to really play for this. Okay. He is going to get the Transmute off, release the Kraken. Not the greatest placement. Was a little bit behind them, but they are going to be forced to fight. Kraken Oh, he's definitely dead. He gets collapsed on completely. So they don't get Boo Boo and Wild Soul, but they do get Kraken in the end as they chase him down. So that was definitely a greedy move there by Rexars, chasing past the secondary tower as they did.
Yeah, it was. But Dog Lady instantly TP'd bottom and trying to get what she can now. It does free up some space down bottom now, so that she can recover. But it was, yeah, a bit unnecessary. The Kraken died, or unfortunate, I should say. Very well chased from Complexity.
Yeah. You do see bottom lane, Dark Lady getting a little bit of farm, as you mentioned, but here comes the hasted Formless on that Ravener, and sure enough, has to turn around and fall back for the time being. Top lane, Moraxis. Okay, he's taking that double swipe damage. Not going to be enough, though, I don't think.
Who does have more move speed, so yeah, he's getting support now.
Yeah. Stun comes out. Did that stun not hit Boo Boo? That was interesting. Anyways, Wild Soul is going to be picked off in the end. He puts out some good damage, man. But he does get taken out. That was... Did you see that? The line stun from Fade actually didn't stun Boo Boo.
No, it only stuns heroes. It doesn't stun enemies.
Okay, that makes sense then, yeah. That, for some reason I thought it would. Oh, bottom lane. Ravener going to be locked down by the Elemental Void getting pulled in. He's not going to get away from that one, so he got a little too greedy by himself down here. And he got, well, caught out. So that's a necessary kill for Rexars Reborn, at least.
Yeah, I like what they did. I mean, they saw 3 heroes top, and then they see Ravenor farming the bottom lane, and they're like, okay, this guy's alone this time. Let's try and set up a kill on this guy, on him. And it's something you have to be aware of as well when you're Hellborn. That's the enemy team just saw 3 of us top, so I probably shouldn't be farming too offensively.
They're going to have to defend this bottom tower. We'll see if they do. You think it's worth it? I mean, this is a pretty strong push team. You got Tempest. Now, Wild Soul's not here. But,
the Hellborn lineup wants to fight. I mean, they have the 5 stuns and the supports that will thrive off of getting hero kills, whereas the Legion side rather want to not fight here.
Oh boy, Fade, he's finding a good angle right here. That's going to be a big 2-man stun. In comes the follow-up, and down both go Dark Lady and Tempest. That was a beautiful setup from what you got right there on the Fade. And no chance to do much against that if you're the Legion side right there. So good execution once again.
Yeah, well played for him. I'm a bit surprised that they tried to force the issue here, especially without a Rev Void. I mean, they know they don't have blinks on the Hellborn side, but they should at least expect the level 6 Fate to be setting up.
Look at Oscar all of a sudden, by the way, on this Moraxis. Seems like he just somehow does it. He's got over 300 GPM here. I mean, he was having a little bit of trouble early on, obviously diving in, getting a kill on him, but he's found some way to come back. I mean, 3-1-1 overall definitely helps with that too, of course. So the portal key is going to be coming at a pretty good timing in the end for him right here.
Yeah, after those 2 kills there and the kills top on Wild Soul, it's going to help a lot here. And they almost have them on Midas and Moraxis. I would look for them to start taking fights here and pushing down tier 1 towers.
Right, as you say, that Midas is getting the portal key delivered here, sure enough, so he has that. You mentioned Moraxis is, again, just around the corner from that. Ravener deciding to go the Abyssal Skull here first. And what do you think about do you like to see maybe a portal key next on him, or would you rather see the Thunderclaw more of a flash farming route?
I think he can go with the Thunderclaw. I mean, he just has to do damage, and he has so many stuns on his team that he doesn't need the blink to initiate. He can just use the ball lightning, and the guy who he's aiming for should be stunned for 3-4 seconds.
Yeah.
He can come in and finish them off. It should be okay without the blink. But it's down to preference. If he wants to blink around to farm faster, maybe, or just be there in the fight, it's also okay to go the blink.
Definitely. Yeah, Thunderclaw is a great item with that power overwhelming, especially getting those charges up. Of course, you're talking about. Bottom lane? Okay, yeah. Flux Gavana dead yet again. That is his now 4th death here. You got Moraxis and Fade coming in for the kill. Looks like that was the invisible Fade with the reflection setting up the kill right there.
Yeah, it was. And some Moraxis stun and ulti.
Oh boy, Tempest, he doesn't have Elemental Void, but I don't know about this. In comes the swap, and the team support is here. Midas with the transmute. Tempest going to be picked off. Arcane Vortex coming out in the background, trying to slow them down at least a little bit, but Kraken, he's still being chased. And the axes are landing. One more needed. He just gets out of range, but oh my gosh, the axe just misses. Makes it take a little bit longer, though. Double tap for Fuzzy Sloth in the end, playing that Midas. So, again, Rexars Reborn, it seems like a couple times now they just get caught trying for a little too much here.
Yeah, they have a passive lineup. they shouldn't try to force the issue. They shouldn't try to push any towers. Just find a guy who is farming alone. Maybe the farm nest in his own jungle somewhere, and then try and get a kill on him. Or if they see a guy farming up in any other lane, close to the tower, they can go for him. But they cannot fight 5v5 as it is right now. Unless they land something like a 3-4 man Kraken ult into Tempest ult.
Yeah.
But I don't even think they have the damage to kill him anyways. As it is right now. They need more farm on Dark Lady, they need more farm on also.
Exactly. I mean, this goes back to the draft in general. It's a very clear idea that it's a greedy lineup. I mean, Wild Soul, Tempest, Dark Lady are all going to need some pretty good farm before they're going to be really impactful. And it's showing here definitely. So Complexity, that's the credit for them definitely of drafting against it. And obviously working out pretty well so far here. You do see the Helm of the Black Legion is finished on Wild Soul. Seems like this has kind of been the ideal build. Do you think that makes sense to see a Helm on Wild Soul?
It's alright, but I still think if he's stun locked, I think he'll die. I think he'll benefit more from investments. But I honestly have not played the hero a lot, so I'm not really sure what is the best item build on the hero. But it seems getting that extra HP is not enough to keep him alive.
Well, you see right here, Mystic Vespens or not, I mean, he is probably dead at that point. He gets simply caught by a couple of heroes. Meanwhile, bottom jungle, Tempest is also going to be found in his own jungle by Ravener and Midas. So Complexity clearly has total control of this game right now. Oh. That was awkward. He Dark strikes into his own Arcane Vortex.
Here comes the turn. Oh, and the
yeah. Things are messing up pretty big time here. Moira, though, is going to be chased down as Ravener doesn't really care too much. Andromeda swaps in and release the Kraken, going to pull them back. Dark Lady, I don't know about this, man. I mean, they're not going to win that fight. You do not have the damage. And down goes Kraken in the end, sure enough. So it's tough times for Rexars.
They keep trying to go for the kill too. They don't have to.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point it's getting too late because they already died so much. But if they did not force the issues and waited for their core items, just put up some voids to see where are Complexity now, where should we not be, basically. Where can I farm at this time? Getting some lane wards out, just trying to secure mid and bottom lane would be fine. And then if they see them run in there, they just go top and farm.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely does seem like you're right that it's almost as if this isn't Rexars Reborn's play style. I mean, they drafted a lineup that can definitely work, but you have to play it the very passive way. They keep wanting to go, acting like they have, they're the ones with the Fate and Andromeda and whatnot, but they're clearly not. So, yeah, they...
Exactly. Don't get me wrong, I think it's a great lineup, but you have to execute it properly as well.
Well, they're in a tough spot here. Only 16 minutes in, already down 7,300 gold and nearly 10,000 experience. As cash is so near, we do our best to try to keep hope alive. And if there's hope here for Rexars, what would you think it is, and how do you think it's going to work?
It's getting the cleaver and just dodging them. I mean, they don't have any push heroes with minions on Hellborn sides, so the only way they get towers is from killing heroes and then getting them. They can't just straight up push them. Wild Soul will push your towers faster. And, I mean, the counter push is just too fast with Tempest and Wild Soul. So if they stop dying, getting up those wards, getting information on where are the Hellborn heroes, they will be able to come back in this game.
Well, Nier, they're not listening to you because they're still dying. Moira goes down. You got Tempest. He's eventually going to get caught here, and yet will be killed off as well. So, yeah, I mean, trying to give hope, and that's the way to do it. But it's obviously not easy either, especially when you're this far behind. And Complexity is just total control once again. So, I think it's getting close to that point if you're Rexars Reborn of thinking about that game number 2 around the corner, because this game is a little too out of hand at this time here.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they had the voids there where they thought they could be. So, I mean, one aggressive in the Hellborn jungle and one in the mid lane. But they came from other directions. So,
yeah.
Oh, they do get the kill on Fuzzy Slot.
Yeah, that was an interesting play right there. I mean, the swap almost, I feel like, screwed Fuzzy Slot a little bit, to be honest. But you got swapped back in at the last second and tried to run the other way. But good chase on him as Dark Lady also caught them off guard being there. So, nice little turn there from the Legion side. But that's just one of many, many more turns that they need to happen and kills in their favor to start climbing back into this game, as Complexity's not going to slow down at the same time. You now got the Portakey on Ravener to follow the Thunderclaw. He's going to just walk right on top of Kraken. and a couple of auto attacks later with more Axis assistance, easily gets the kill to follow. So Formless is, by the way, 560 plus gold per minute here. No good for the Legion side.
You never want to see that on the enemy team's Ravenor, so it's gonna be tough.
Ravenor getting a change in the upcoming patch, by the way.
Yeah, I saw that. Gonna be interesting to see how that affects him.
Yeah. Forward to that. What were you about to say, though? Sorry. Cut you off there.
I can't remember, to be honest, but I want to say that they have the offensive voids on Legion side here in the mid lane and the top on that camp, so they can farm their own ancients and then they can farm their jungle. That's where they have their voids. And I think they should stick there. Just go as 5. I mean, complexity is spread up. Formless is farming alone bottom, and then they have heroes around mid, which I think they saw on the void that they have on the bottom river. So they should know that they could be alone here, or they could not be 5 here.
Oh, Fade. It finds an easy kill right there on Amora. Wildsel, he lost Boo Boo there, by the way, as well, so taking some good damage for that. Doesn't have that Soul Link now, and he is in a lot of trouble. He is life-stealing because of the bear form, but it doesn't matter. The Elemental Void coming out immediately canceled, though. Wildsel is still alive, running away, but his team is dead in the process, and he will port out to safety, but everybody, a near genocide, really, in favor of complexity. Of course, nobody dying on their side, and they're going to continue this push now. As I was going to say, just a matter of time, really. And it looks like Rexar's Reborn has finally seen the light of, let's just go ahead and throw that concede vote out here. Not following through with it just yet, so maybe some disagreements here. Does that ever happen with? Okay, there we go. It goes through. But are there ever times for you near where your team maybe like one person wants to concede and everyone else is like, no, let's keep playing? I mean, or do you usually all agree?
Yeah, it happens. I mean, I agree to. I mean, if I usually want to play every game out, but sometimes if you get too frustrated or like as the chances are so small, then it's better to just get on to the next game and focus there.
Yeah.
Because you can get frustrated from just, I mean, getting those 5-for-2 exchanges 5 more times or something.
Yeah.
Seeing things go wrong. It's not the funniest, so I can understand them conceding here. I mean, they had 4 men in the Kraken ulti, 4 men in Tempest ulti, but they lacked the damage to kill anyone. I mean, the Hillborn side had too much farm, too much damage and HP. They couldn't do anything to them.
It was fun to watch, though. Complexity, again, continuing some good momentum here. Definitely in the Cycle 1 champs. Seem like they're on point here, at least today. And, I mean, just look at stat lines across the board. Definitely impressive stuff. It was just, obviously, a very one-sided game in their favor against Rexar's Reborn right here. So the Rexars will need to be reborn once again here in game number 2 and see about changing things up here. I had
hopes for them early on because it took Complexity 4 minutes to get a blood loss, and I think